it appropriate, do you think, that businesses might have to wait until the next day in a case like that where there is, and was it classified? Was it a robbery?
We classified it as a robbery when it was entered. I did not look at the report to see how it was written. It depends on, robbery is a theft with violence or threat of violence. So the employees at least felt threatened to the point that they actually fled the business and went out the back door because this individual came around the counter and approached the till. And I don't know if there's a little swing door there. I don't know if it was locked and damaged or if it was just pushed open, but the people felt threatened enough that it was classified as a robbery. So after that, when they've confirmed the suspect had fled, which was actually recorded, the person had fled, they checked the business anyways for anybody that might have been left in the business. There was no more threat in play. And being that we can't, like the call taker said, we can't predict when those higher priority calls come in. So you're already at closing time for the business. They've already closed. Why would we have somebody wait for 3-4 hours or longer into the middle of the night? Let them get back to normal lives. And
I guess maybe the question I should ask, would the goal be if you have the resources to get there faster?
Always.
In that case?
Always. Like I said, it was a priority 3, which is a fairly high priority call. So yeah, we would love to have been able to get there earlier, but not even all priority 3s are the same, right? And you have to look at the circumstances in each call. We can't have a million different priorities. We have 10, which is actually quite a bit. But this was an event that could have been downgraded. There was no threat to anybody anymore. The suspect had left. There's no threat to property. So a deferred response is not unrealistic in that case.
What's the average response time for a priority 3 call?
No, I don't have that. I'd have to get that through our organizational development support.
I think Josh was asking as well, like, I guess in a lot of these situations, people are frustrated. This might be, in this case, it wasn't the only time this owner has had to call police or has dealt with police, but sometimes, this might be the only time that someone ever deals with the police when they're going through something, and then they call and they're told maybe, we're not going to be able to get there immediately. It might be tomorrow. I guess for you, for the police service, like, do you understand the frustration, I guess, that people experience when they're told, we can't get to you right away?
Absolutely. We definitely recognize that is difficult for people because this is the one-time callers. This is the worst time in their lives. They don't call us because they're having a good day, right? So we understand that frustration, but we have to be cognizant of the higher priority calls, and that's why we have a priority system. Without a priority system, you'd probably go first in, first out, and that's not realistic in policing. You can't do that. You have to deal with the higher priority calls based on the circumstances that are happening at that time.
This is a little bit of a follow-up question, but regarding the announcement of yesterday from the province, do you think this is an option for police officers to work more, especially with the officer available right now?
I don't have enough details of that program that was announced to even respond to that. I read about it briefly in the paper this morning. I don't have any particular details about that event, so I can't really comment on that.
With the Sinaholic thing, you're taking issue with the owner's statement that basically they were told, or their impression of what they were told was, we will get someone out to you if we are not too busy. So what do you think then? Like, is it your position then that you think that this owner is deliberately giving the wrong information, or just this is a lie? Or is it your impression that
absolutely,
the traumatic sort of stress of that experience that...
Just for the record, we don't take issue with the way they felt or their statement. I don't take issue with that at all. They heard what they heard, and that's how that made them feel. And I recognize in that moment, that's how they felt. I just wanted to set the record straight that, as reported, that is not what was said. What was said is, we will get to you, we'll call you when we have somebody available. We can't predict when other emergencies come in. We'd already asked all the safety questions. That person was 100% safe at that point in time, so I'm not taking issue with the owner or the caller. I'm just saying that put this in perspective, we understand that that's how they felt, and we recognize that.
Was the call, so I inquired about this on Tuesday.
Mhm.
Tuesday morning, when was the call reviewed by yourself or by the communications staff here at the police service?
Yesterday, when I became aware of the article, and then I was asked to pull the audio.
Why not Tuesday?
I wasn't aware of it, so I couldn't actually do anything about it. Nobody asked us for anything on Tuesday.
Well, I did say. when
No, I'm saying
I did-
my division, nobody asked my division for anything on Tuesday.
Because in the inquiry that I sent, I did include that line in my inquiry. I said, this is what the owner said he was told, or said they were told.
Mhm.
So I guess.
I can't speak, all I can say is I can't speak to
You're
it.
taking issue with the reporting, and now I'm wondering why.
I'm
on
not,
Tuesday-
I'm not taking issue with the reporting either. I'm
You
taking,
did say you're taking issue with the reporting, though.
no, I'm saying I recognize that's how they felt, and I'm not taking issue with the reporting. I'm saying that's what they told you, and that's probably 100% how they felt. I'm saying that we want to set the record straight, that that is not what was said.
Right. There was
And
an opportunity to do that on Tuesday.
don't talk to me about that one, because I don't have enough details to give you.
Well, unfortunately, I have to talk to you about it.
Yeah,
because
I
I've
just,
thrown you up here to
Yeah.
talk about it.
that's fine, but I can't give you an answer on that, because I only became aware of this yesterday after the story had been published,
I just
so.
look at it from a communications standpoint, and I wonder why either the call wasn't reviewed on Tuesday, or if we weren't told, or if somebody didn't say, you know what, it's gonna take us some time to look at this call, it's gonna take us some time to listen back. Can you hold on a day? Can you wait a day? Can you wait to publish? Can you just let us look into this call? And then we'll get back to you. We can, come back with, a more well-rounded response. Or we can at least verify what this is what was said. But do you understand where I'm coming from?
I understand where you're coming from, but I
have a
can't,
job
but I can't
where
answer.
I go to somebody, and then I go to a police service,
Yep.
and I say, this is what I was told, this is what the person says they were told, this is what happened afterwards,
I-
And leave it up to you, essentially, not to you personally, but up to the police service,
Yeah.
and say, this is our response, this is what happened on our end, this is what we heard during that call, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I can't speak to that, because I wasn't part of that communication chain until I got told about it yesterday.
I know you don't have details, but what does it say about the retail theft problem that the province is offering operating dollars for police overtime? I'm sure maybe you can maybe weigh in on this. I can't remember a provincial announcement on overtime operating dollars. Maybe there has been, I just can't remember recent memory. So
Right.
what's that say when the province is offering operating dollars for police overtime for retail theft?
Retail theft is a large problem in the city, and that's why a lot of retail businesses that can afford it will actually hire special duty officers to be present at their locations. Do we have a retail theft problem? Absolutely we do. I don't know what else I can say about that.
Do you need more money for overtime in the province, what the province is saying they're going to do? Do
In
you,
fairness to Inspector Spado,
Yes.
this is a really nice area to talk about. Send us an email.
In terms of the Sinaholic thing.
Sorry, I think you had something you wanted, just before we get back to
Yeah,
you.
no worries. So why exactly has the service decided that this is the case they want to come and make this point? Like, there has to have been other ones in the past where what the owner is saying and what the service necessarily is saying.
I was asked-
maybe don't exactly line up.
I was asked to look at this call and address this call. So as far as why this one, I don't know if that would be a question maybe for the chief or the executive table.
This was on a Saturday night.
Mhm.
Do you know, at that time, 7:45, in that area of Winnipeg, how busy was it? Like, were there a lot of priority 1, 2? Did you have situations where officers had to kind of go to other areas because of demand, or?
I can't speak specifically. I actually brought it up this morning, but I didn't have time to pull all the data. I don't know exactly how busy it was, but I just know that our queue is never down to 0, and the members are going call to call to call. And I can say it was likely busy. The fact that a priority 3 sat there tells me there were other priority 3s and 2s that were present.
The queue, you mentioned the queue. Like, is
I'd be speculating. I know our queue can go anywhere from, right now, 50 calls to 300 calls.
So for people who might be watching this or maybe reading the coverage, like a lower priority call, maybe an example might be a break-in, a residential break-in where like it's happened, or the person's gone, there's no threat, there's no danger, and people maybe face a wait. I guess what message, I guess, do you want to send to people then when they have experienced a crime and it's a lower priority on the priority scale, and there is a wait?
Yeah,
what would be the message, I guess?
as much as we'd love to be at every event as soon as possible, like at that time, not as soon as possible because we get there as soon as possible. It's important. The call is important. We understand this is a traumatic event for them, but we have to deal with the life safety issues first. We do have other reporting mechanisms, like you mentioned, break-in. We can do virtual police response with FaceTime and those types of things that will allow us to actually examine a scene remotely, which has done great things to help with those types of delays on the events that are suitable. But every crime is important to us. It's just that we have to prioritize our resources.
Are you able to speak to the likelihood of an incident like this, of charges being laid, whether the response is immediate compared to the next day? Is there a significant drop-off in how a case like that is handled?
Each case is different. If you happen to get there like within seconds and you see the person coming away, obviously you're going to be pretty successful in those cases. Once the person's out of the area, the solve rate is probably not that much different because we have video. If we can get the ID off the video, that's what we'd be relying on, it, whether we got it an hour after the event or a day after the event. The success rate would be similar.
Are there, like within policing in Canada, are there any standards when it comes to response times or targets at all for police services to?
I'd say no. I don't have specifics, but every department has their own priority systems. We have, like I said, up to 10 priorities. Some have 3s, some have 4. We went to 10 back 20 years ago. We used to have four priorities before that.
And who's making those decisions, I guess, when a call comes in? Like who's basically ranking by priority?
Priority is initially set by the call taker based on the circumstances that are presented by the caller. But it's also reviewed by the dispatcher, supervisors, and our duty inspector. And if there's anything that's blatantly incorrect, that gets fixed right at the time.
I appreciate you might not have the info, but do you know if anyone was arrested or charged in the robbery at the bakery?
I don't believe so, but I did not look deep into it. I looked at the report briefly, but I don't know if there was a linked report where that person was also charged. That arrest report wouldn't necessarily show up in that event.
And do you see, like, you sort of touched on this, do you see the business owners' concerns as sort of representative of what the broader retail community feels like they're dealing with? They don't feel like they're maybe a priority when these types of thefts or robberies happen, and they just don't feel supported, not only not by police, but by money for security upgrades and that sort of thing. Let's see where they're.
I understand their frustration. Absolutely, I do. But again, we have to prioritize our resources to those locations that are the highest risk to life safety. Our whole priority system is based on prioritizing person crime over property. Our first 4 priorities, priority 0 to 3 are all person related. The highest priority property offense is a priority 4. So if you have a break into a vacant house or a vacant building in the middle of the night when nobody's there, the highest that's going to be is a 4.
What are some examples of the 2 highest priority?
Assaults in progress, stabbings, shootings, those types of calls would be 2s and 1s.
Do you have situations that are automatically made a priority 1 or 2? Or for example, if it's like a domestic violence situation, do those automatically become a
No.
higher priority?
Depends on the circumstances. No call type alone will dictate what it would be. Maybe, well, I can classify maybe a plane crash. That would be a major disaster. That would be an automatic high priority.
I don't know if you can speak to this or not. This one might be something, or within its control for the police service, what is it doing, I guess, to try to reduce wait times or response times? Like, I know there's a lot of factors at play, you know, on the periphery, but within the police service's control, I guess, what is it doing to try to reduce response times or any sort of strategies or approaches?
It probably is a better question for the executive table and the chief. I know that we've added resources on certain evenings when we know the queue gets to be too large, Thursdays through Saturdays, particularly in the summer, and we're paying overtime for those units to try to assist with the queue management and wait times.
Have you seen, I guess, what have the trends been? Like, I don't know how long you've been overseeing the communications center, but where we're at now with the call volumes and then also then the resources and then the response times, like how does it compare today versus 10 years ago roughly, or 5 years ago, or even a few years ago?
Well, I've been there for about a year, and so I don't have all the specifics. And anything I provided you would be anecdotal guessing, and might be educated guessing, but I don't think that's an area I really need to go into today.
Are there ever audits of, I vaguely recall seeing some media coverage from around 2013 of some audits of response times.
There have been in the past,
Yeah.
but I have no details on
Those
that right
aren't
now.
regular things,
No.
are they?
Any more questions?
No. I guess, can anybody speak to the province's announcement yesterday?
I sent an email.
Okay, thank you.